Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Aditya here. Today, let's start with AWS IAM Best Practices. These are extremely important for real world AWS usage. First, never use the root account except for account setup, only for initial setup. The root account is too powerful and should be protected at all times. And next, follow the rule one physical person equal to one IAM user. So this will avoid shared accounts. So you need to avoid shared accounts because you lose traceability and control. Always create one IAM user to one physical user. Always add user to groups and attach permissions to those groups. So what are the permissions you want to add to the user? Better segregate them into groups and add permissions at the group level so that all the users within that group will get or will inherit those permissions. This keeps permissions management simpler and scalable. Next, enforce a strong password policy and enable MFA for every user including the root account. So this prevents unauthorized access even if the passwords are leaked. Don't forget to enable MFA even for your IAM and root users, and also enforce strong password policies to prevent from unauthorized access. Next one, use IAM roles whenever AWS services needs permission. For example, you have services like EC2 want to access Lambda or other service to service communications, always use IAM roles. And for CLI or SDK access, use access keys and remember never to share them. So never share your access keys which you created for your CLI or SDK access to others. And regularly audit your account using IAM credential report and IAM last access feature in AWS IAM. These tools help you to identify stale credentials and excessive permissions. And finally, the most important thing is never share IAM users or access keys to anyone. Don't share. Moving on to the next slide. Now, let's talk about the shared responsibility model applies to IAM. You may wonder, what is this shared responsibility model, right? So in AWS, we have this model called shared responsibility model. Since AWS is providing services to customer, there are few responsibilities which was taken care by AWS and few responsibility assigned to the users. For example, ours, since we are the customers or users of the AWS accounts, right? So first we need to understand for each and every service, whether it's IAM, EC2 or any other service, we need to understand what is the AWS responsibilities and what are our responsibilities. So now we will go through those responsibilities one by one. First, we'll start with AWS responsibilities. AWS is responsible for securing the underlying infrastructure, like global infrastructure security, and like physical data centers, networking, and hardware, and global infrastructure. And they also handle compliance and system level security. So these are the responsibilities of AWS in IAM perspective, only with IAM perspective. Okay. But with respect to you, means customer, are fully responsible for IAM. This includes creating users, groups, and managing groups, and creation of roles, right? And ensuring proper permissions assigned to the users or groups, and enabling MFA, rotating access keys, and auditing permissions. So all these are our responsibilities with respect to IAM. So the below customer responsibilities, we need to manage all the AWS things by ourselves, and only AWS is responsible for infrastructure related management. Simply AWS secures the cloud and you secure the customer secure what you do inside the cloud. I hope you understand about the shared responsibility model. Moving on to the next slide, we'll summarize what we have learned so far. Let's quickly recap everything from the IAM section. Okay, IAM users are actual people who log into AWS console with a password, and groups contain users and help simplify permissions assignment, and policies, which are nothing but JSON documents that define allow or deny rules for services users. Roles are used when AWS services need to access other services. So for service to service communication, For example, EC2 to S3 communication or EC2 to another EC2 communication or EC2 to RDS communication, you need a role, right? So roles is used for service to service communication. From a security standpoint, always enforce strong password policies and also enable MFA, multi-factor authentication. The AWS CLI allows command line access using access keys, and AWS SDK allows access through code. So if you want to access the AWS services through CLI, use command line and access keys. And if you want to access AWS services via your programs, then use AWS SDK with access keys. And access keys act like a username and password for programmatic access, either for CLI or SDK. Finally, use IAM auditing tools like the credential report and the last access feature to keep your environment secure. By following these best practices and understanding your role in the shared responsibility model, you can ensure a robust and secure identity management system in AWS. I hope you understand the concept. Thanks for watching. If you found this useful, please hit the like button and subscribe. See you in the next lecture.